Welcome back to Media 7. We're discussing Sensing Murder, the TV smash that makes critics want to smash their TVs, with producer David Baldock, journalist Carol Duchateau and skeptic Jeremy Wells. David, regarding what Jeremy said about victims' families, I found a couple of examples of families who are really upset about your program and are not pleased to have had their loved ones on it. The Tracy Ann patient one, it was her sister writing online, "It was painful to say the least for me to watch the program, but I felt I had to. As soon as they started to say that Tracy was talking to them, I knew it was a load of rubbish." She sounds quite hurt.
Yeah, she does, and I'm sorry that she's sounding that, but I can also tell you the Black Stock case. Let me tell you the Black Stock case, which we played 3 weeks ago. That mother is now thrilled that the police have reopened the case.
Happy. There are other people
The case has been reopened because of the Sensing Murder investigation, and because police have now taken information that came out of our psychics readings and are re-looking at that. So I don't know why she's upset. We certainly had contact with the family. Everyone else that we've had involved with, and we've now done 20 cases, have been, and they've come to us, and they've been sitting on situations. They have no idea what's happened to their loved ones. They've had no idea what's happened or how their children or their partners have been murdered, and at least something has happened to try and find what's happened.
Does that sound right to you, Carol? I mean, as a journalist, how do you approach these? When there is a lot of emotion around these cases where families might not want to talk, do you think the show gets it right?
I do. Well, the show certainly, all the comment I've had has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, people keep running up to me and saying, "I saw you on Sensing Murder, what a fantastic show." Some really hardened journalists, believe it or not.
We're going to have a look now at another element of the show, and the kind of thing that may well upset families, especially when it's played as primetime entertainment. Some of it is pretty nasty. We'll have a look at the clip now.
When her body was found, Agnes's tracksuit pants were on inside out, and her top, bra and shoes were missing. The post-mortem revealed that Agnes had died from drowning, but she had many unexplained injuries, including an abrasion on her head, cuts and bruises on her body, and large welts on each shoulder. A second coroner's inquest confirmed that Agnes drowned in suspicious circumstances.
David, I did a shot count. In that program, you had 18 shots of a dead 12-year-old girl, most of them with her semi-clothed. Is that not gratuitous?
I don't think so. I mean, those shots were taken out of Crime Watch. You know, there's been many shows that have tried to look at this.
Again and again,
and I have to say it's because of doing this in the media and the type of work that Carol did that particular case got reopened. That the police didn't look at it as just some girl accidentally falling into a ditch, but actually now turned around and said, we think there may have been a murder or foul play going on. So it's only because of the media constantly working this, and across the board. You know, when we do the show, we can only take it to a certain point. We rely on other members of the media to then pick up. I don't think if you look at any case done by any documentary around the world, I can't think of one, I tried to do some research, that any one documentary has solved a murder case. But I can tell you of one where a concerted media effort across the board has changed the course of justice.
What do you make of that, Jeremy? He's doing the good work here, isn't he? He's getting these cases back in the public eye.
In that case, what we should do is we need to... it should be an election issue. We need to get more psychic detective teams. Let's have $10 million and just whack it into a whole lot of psychics. Why do you think that's not happening? That's because it's a load of rubbish. I mean, let's get psychics straight at the scene of the crime. Let's get Deb Webber in there, and let's have her feeling around, crying, thinking, kind of covering her face, and we'll find the person straight away. Surely, the fact is, not one single person, not one single one of these cases have been solved, and I'm prepared to put $100 on the fact that it's never going to be solved. So how many shows, how many people do you have to exploit before and rake these coals over again for these poor families who've got to go through it again before you make enough money so that, and also these people are exploited and we find nothing out at the end? You know, how many shows do we have to have?
I think we've got examples where a lot of information has come up. In fact...
You're saying this over and over again, David.
How many have been solved?
It's not my job. It's not my role to solve the cases. That's the police job. Now, I've got on record of an officer saying to us...
You blame the police. You blame the police every time.
I've got the police on record saying, if I had $50,000 in 2 months, I could solve this case. I don't have the resources and I don't have the money.
You-
That's the issue we've got to
So
be
the
looking
police's
for.
fault.
We don't have
police's
an
fault.
unsolved unit in this country. We don't have a missing persons unit. We have one person sitting in national headquarters. That's the problem we've got to face.
A final question, and I'm not being entirely facetious. You scoffed at the idea of the victim's interest because they were dead. You've got people on a week-by-week basis talking to these victims. Has anyone gone back to Agnes and asked her what she thought of the show?
Not from my perspective, no.
Why not? Surely, if these people are talking to your psychic...
facetious.
No,
I think it
it's
is
not.
being
It's a good
facetious.
point. It's
We
a
have
fair
gone
point.
back to the police,
That
we've
is a
taken the
bloody good
information
point.
we've
Your
got,
psychic-
and we've
your
gone back
victims
to
These
try
people
and
have
find out
rights.
the
These
information.
victims have rights too, and you've got people bothering them the whole time. Deb Webb, I'd hate it if she turned up at my house.
Well, you wouldn't
annoying
talk to
me
her.
all the time. It'd drive you
I'm
nuts.
sure if you're raped and murdered, you could have a chat to her.
Well, look, what best they could do, if they liked her, surely they'd say, well, here's my body. Weird how they don't do that. The only thing that they need to do is to say, oh, my body's just over there, man.
Yeah,
It's like,
weird.
okay,
I mean,
sweet.
it's amazing about the information they have been able to bring
Nothing
forth.
new.
You know, they've been able to take us to spots where these people were murdered.
And then the
for
one
goodness
time they
sake.
buried, they found Doug. They found nothing, so they stopped doing that after
Wasn't
that.
my show.
Okay, we shouldn't dig, because if you dig, you can't prove anything. We'll just muck
The
around
police
this all
did
week.
say-
we have
the police
actually run
did
out of
say on
time.
that point, they don't have the resource of the time to actually excavate it properly.
David, we have run out of time, and I'm actually going to ask Carol for the last word. What do you make of it after this discussion?
Well, I actually think that there are very few decent documentaries in New Zealand at the moment, almost none, and it fills a gap.
And that is our show for this week. Thank you to our panellists, David Baldock, Carol Duchateau and Jeremy Wells, and thank you for watching. We'll be back with Media 7 at the same time next week. Until then, goodbye.